Music! I love doing that. It's so cool. Hey, I'm Michael Edward, creator of How to Crush Your Mental Blocks, which is a course that teaches you how to identify and remove the mental blocks that's keeping you stuck, stopping you from reaching your level of success. Hey, my friend, I am Michael Edward. Thrilled to be here with you. Today, let's talk about do something that matters. All right? A lot of reasons why we want to do stuff that matters, but you know what? We live in a world of immediate gratification. We live in a world where we overindulge in everything, really. Today, we have more distractions, more methods of distracting us. Just with the onset of online, I mean, everything is so affordable now that almost everybody can afford to have some sort of a device or a computer that goes online. And what do? We spend lots of time online. All right? We have way too many distractions. We have appetites, voracious appetites for food and drink. Right? We need to develop positive habits rather than having these bad habits that we've grown to come accustomed to, right? As humans, we develop habits. I don't know why that is. I don't know if anybody can really explain why we have to have habits. But as humans, we do. And we often have the bad habits that are just harmful for us. They're harmful for us, our health, our mindsets, our level of success. Habits are vital for changing your life, all right? And these insatiable appetites that we have are often habits. We also have a lot of childhood traumas, and they can dictate our habits. They can choose what we do or don't do for us, all right? You need to identify and remove any traumas that we have, childhood or otherwise. It could be early adult. It could even be last week. I mean, let's face it. But a lot of these habits that we have that are bad habits come from our childhood traumas. All right, that's just the way it is. And if you change your habits, you will change your life. Okay? Let me say it again. If you change your habits, you will change your life. Now, when I was about 10 years old, I was then too blind to keep working in the public school system. I lost almost all of my sight by that point. I still had a little bit of sight when I went to the blind school, but not much. And it was a boarding school. I would go there, my parents would drop me off Monday morning and I would get bused home Friday afternoon. So I lived there all week. And one of the first things I learned about that school was the food there. It was just awful. I'm sorry, but it was terrible. I'll never forget my first lunch. I was sitting there with 3-4 guys at the table that we became very good friends over the years. We still are buddies, actually. We still see each other. And the announcement came over the PA system in the dining room. They told us what the lunch menu was and any announcement that needed to be made and so on. Well, they said sweet and sour pork. I'm not sure if I ever really heard of sweet and sour pork up to that point. And rice and I don't know, some fruit cup or something for dessert. And I thought, okay, that sounds a little interesting. And when they brought the food, I looked at it a little bit, and the meat looked like it was fluffy. At least I assumed it was meat under that fluff. And then I touched it, and yeah, the meat was kind of fluffy. I've never seen fluffy meat. Well, I said to my buddies at the table, I said, what is this on my plate? And one of the guys was over there, oh, there's sweet and sour pork, great stuff, yeah, I love it. All right, well, I took a bite. When I got past the fluff, I found some hard thing that I guess was supposed to be pork. So I chewed that, swallowed that, laid down my fork and said, okay, well, that's enough of that meal. Let's wait and see what supper has to bring. And what it was it probably did have sweet and sour sauce on it at one point, but it sits on the heat rack so long before all of us students get to the table And they leave it on the heat rack, maybe through necessity, I don't know, but way too long. Our food was on the heat rack. So heat racks have a way of destroying an awful lot of good food, and sweet and sour pork was one of them. I never really did get to develop a flavor for it, a taste for that one. But what happened now was, as I stayed at the blind school, I realized that, I can't miss all these meals and not eat stuff. I have to eat something. So when something came along that I liked, I ate a lot of it. I mean, a lot of it. I would have 4, 5, 6 helpings, depending on what it was. And then I might not have supper, depending on what what it was. And breakfast was usually okay. I mean, at worst, I could get cold cereal, so that's all right. And, lunch and supper was crapshoot. And, eventually I got a little better. But for the most part, what I learned to scarf down the food quickly, because you put up your hand and kitchen staff would come along and say, what would you like? I said, I'd like some more, another hot dog. And they would take my plate and go and get me a couple more hot dogs. So that's how we got served. And you needed to eat quickly to make sure that they didn't run out of food before you ran out of appetite. And I still, that's decades ago, right? And I still sometimes eat like that. If there's something on my plate I really like, I'm going to have seconds. Absolutely, I will. Do I need it? No way. No way. I mean, I used to eat, as a matter of course, 3, 4 hamburgers. Today, I often will eat 2. And once in a while, I catch myself and I'm like, no, I don't really need 2 hamburgers. Just 1. 1 in a salad is more than enough food. All right? Yeah, so I catch myself even today that I still need to consciously think about it and not overeat, right? Not scarf it down and cause all the problems that come with it. I mean, I get bloated. I really pay for it when I overeat. It's not just a little unpleasantness. No, I can really get laid out by it, So it stops me. It doesn't stop me from working, but it certainly makes me more groggy, more tired. I'm not as functional as I'd like to be, and so on and so forth. So let's go over 4 points here. First one is control pleasures. All right. I think as humans, we are terrible at this. I think when you look at the very, very successful people, in a lot of cases, and I'm talking, not just your artists and your musicians and those guys, I'm talking about business people that have really made a high level of success. I think a lot of them control their pleasures. They don't overindulge in things. And you could, too much is definitely too much, right? Whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, drugs are out anyway. Whether it's any of that stuff, you really need to hold back and enjoy things. Absolutely. Enjoy life to the fullest, but control your pleasures. Don't let them control you. All right. I'm not an alcoholic in the sense that I need to drink every day. I don't know if you call what I am an alcoholic or not. I don't know. I'm not up on the terminologies and stuff. But what I am is I'm a binge drinker. So I could have a couple of drinks and be fine. I could have a couple more drinks and that's it. I'm off for the night. I will drink it. I will start pounding them down faster and faster. I'll start, having me a howl of a good time and all that kind of stuff. I'm a binge drinker. And what I learned a long time ago now, I don't know how long, but a while back, is that I can't do what I want to do and be a binge drinker. So I developed this new habit, this new lifestyle, where I didn't say I'm not going to drink. It just became I'm not going to drink. Because drinking doesn't suit what I want to do. Okay? So for me, if I drink and I want to go in and work that evening, if I have a couple of drinks this afternoon with a friend, and I want to go in and work this evening, it's not going to happen. I'll be too tired. I can't type worth a darn if I have too much alcohol in me. And certainly I'm not going to do a video. I mean, what am I going to do? So no. If I drink to excess, if I get into a binge, then I'm screwed for a few days. All right, my head is foggy, the usual hangover type symptoms anyway. And so I'm not going to be productive. So you see, it wasn't that I chose to give up drinking. It was that drinking didn't fit in my life because I decided to control my pleasures and take on certain responsibilities, certain career moves. All right. So you need to think about that and decide what pleasures you need to control. So the pleasures could be eating, could be sex, could be, and by sex I'm not talking about the actual act of sex between a married couple. I'm talking about if sex is constantly on your mind, every time you meet somebody you're gauging them for sexual compatibility, that kind of stuff, okay? And the pursuit of sex, I guess is what you could say, can be out of whack and take your mind off of what it is that you really need to do. All right. So you need to consider that, controlling your pleasures. Okay. Remove childhood traumas. You need to get rid of, this is number 2, by the way. You need to get rid of whatever childhood traumas are stopping you, right, are inhibiting you from reaching a high level of success. Because you can't be looking back all the time and feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you're bruised inside. You know what I'm talking about? Where you just don't feel positive and good. And one story I was reading when I was doing my studies developing the Tap It Out program was this teenage girl. She was quite attractive and all that, and she was in gymnastics. She was a gymnast. And she was doing some complicated maneuver, I think it was on the bars, and her father and an uncle were watching her. And I guess the uncle made some sort of a inappropriate sexual type innuendo comment, and it really hurt her. He had no idea. It was just a, silly comment to him, but it really hurt her to the point where she decided, you know what, I don't want to be attractive. I don't want to be, looked at by guys, and certainly not older men like this. So she began her quest to eat as much ice cream as she could, and she gained a lot of weight. Took her years to figure out, through all these diets and stuff later on in life, when she wanted to trim down, it took her years to find out that was what it was that comment that was made to her, and it changed her life. It gave her a habit of eating food and getting out of shape. All right? Very, very terrible stuff. So you need to remove any childhood traumas that you may have. Number 3 is stop browsing. All right? You've probably never heard anything like this, but let me explain it to you. When you're on Facebook, let's say, and you're browsing, and you're deciding, do I read this? Do I not read this? Do I comment here? Do I let it go? You're making decision. Even though they're simple, even though they're basic, and your mind is just click, 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 click as you're browsing. All right? You can't stop it. It's just the way your mind works. It is what it is. Yeah, I know. Some people are going to say, but that gives me pleasure through the dopamine and all that stuff. Yes, I understand that. But let me continue, because dopamine is not what we want here. It doesn't last. So, in your brain, you have so much energy. Your brain is an amazing tool. It has, the ability to store information, vast amounts of information, highly, highly impressive. But it only contains so much energy at a time. All right? So if you think about it as a car, the car can take you anywhere you want to go. But the tank only holds so much gas. You have a destination. If you keep taking side trip after side trip after side trip, and you run out of gas, you're not going to get to that destination, are you? It's the same thing with the brain. If you burn off all the sugar, the energy in your brain, then you run out of fuel, and you're tired, and you're lethargic. You can't think clearly, all right? You may think you're thinking clearly. Honestly, you might, but you're really not. And studies have shown that when we do too much of this, browsing and all this kind of pointless, for the most part, pointless, senseless actions, we tire ourselves out. That's fine. But if you are reaching for a high level of success, you need your brain keen. You need to stay focused, and browsing is not going to get you there. The only time I browse is for the most part I browse at the end of the day when when I've done everything that I want to do, and get a little bit caught up on some of my buddies and stuff. And I'll do a little bit of browsing then, but honestly, I don't do a lot of browsing. The other time I do a lot of browsing is for business reasons. Okay? So mostly I'm on Facebook. It's for business. It has nothing to do with pleasure. Of course, my business is my pleasure, but you know what I'm saying. All right? So number 4 is take on something that is meaningful. Take on something that is meaningful to you. What I'm talking about here is when you take on something meaningful, that's really something that you want to do, you're going to develop those habits. For example, me in my work that I do, I just stopped drinking. I don't remember the last time I had a drink, but it's been a while. It's been like over a year, I'm sure, even since I just had one beer with a friend, because it just doesn't fit in what I'm doing. What I'm doing here, to me, is so meaningful that it fills up my day. My habits develop around it to the point where my son and I are lifting weights, and I'm outgrowing my shirts now. Oh, I like these shirts too. Anyway, I need more energy, and I need to be more physically fit to do the kind of work that I do. So we are lifting weights together. And there's still more that I have to do, but I'm doing a lot. And why? It's because I'm doing something meaningful. If I did not have this dream of reaching this high level of success through teaching people, then I wouldn't be doing all the stuff that I'm doing. I wouldn't give a damn if I went out and got hammered with some buddies or what have you. So when you take on something that's meaningful, it helps dictate your life. It helps run the way you want to be. All right? You develop the habits based on the things that you want to do. All right? You'll come out of your shell. You will certainly change friendships and relationships based on this. All right? So when you take on something that is really meaningful to you, it will change everything. So keep that in mind. Do something that matters is all about forcing you to change your habits. Okay? It's all about changing how you think about things. I want you to remember that one of my quotes is, actions are the legs that lead you to success. All right? You have to take action in order to reach a high level of success. And action are the legs that lead you to success. I love that quote. Came up with that one myself. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this useful. I am Michael Edward. I want you to go out there, enjoy every day, love as much as you can, and succeed. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please like it, share it. Click on that subscribe button, click on that bell icon to adjust your notifications so you'll never miss another video from me again. In the description, there's links including mepersonaldevelopment.com, where we help you reach your highest level of success.